Hi guys, so we are now on the third part of our solution to board exam refresher workbook for General Engineering Set A. Okay, so nasa pangatlong part na tayo ngayon and we will be solving problem 21 up to problem 30. Okay, then after this we will be going to the second set. Okay, the set B of our refresher for General Engineering. Okay, so now let's start solving this problem here. So we have problem number 21 na lumabas sa EE board exam noong April 1997, and this is for integral calculus. So let us find the integral of E exponent x minus 1 divided by E exponent x plus 1 dx. Okay, and these are our choices para sa question na to. Okay, so para ma-solve natin siya ng mas madali, isulat natin itong given natin. So, we need to find the integral of, we have E exponent x minus 1. Okay, so we have E exponent x minus 1. Okay, divided by E exponent x plus 1. So, E exponent x plus 1 and we have dx in here. Okay, so kailangan lang makuha natin yung integral nito and then hahanapin natin dito sa ating mga choices kung ano yung kapareho niya. Okay, so since we have two terms dito sa ating numerator, that means we can separate this, no? So, we will have here the integral of e to dx over e to dx plus 1, then minus the integral of dx over e to dx plus 1. Alright, so dito, pag tinignan natin ito, no, makikita natin that we can already solve this one. Okay? The integral of e to the x dx over e to the x plus 1, no, because the derivative of our denominator, which is e to the x plus 1 is equal to e to the x dx. Okay? So, yan na yung nasa numerator natin. So, that means we can easily solve this as ln e to the x plus 1. Okay? But, it will not be the same dito sa ating pangalawang term. So, we will have minus the integral of dx over e to dx plus 1. Okay, so medyo mahaba yung solution nito, kaya I'm going to name this as equation number 1. Okay, dahil babalikan natin yan. Alright, so since ito yung medyo mahaba, ito muna yung solving natin, no? So we're going to solve for the integral of dx e to dx plus 1. In order to solve this, we need to use substitution. Okay, so let us let a variable u is equal to our denominator e to the x plus 1. Okay? So, if you're going to take the derivative of this, we will have du is equal to e to the x dx. Okay? So, if you're going to substitute that here, kailangan makuha natin yung dx. So, we're going to isolate that. So, we will have dx is equal to du over e to dx. Okay? And similarly, dito naman, our e to the x, let us isolate that. Our e to the x is equal to u minus 1. Okay? So, ito yung mga gagamitin natin sa ating substitution. Okay, so, sulat na natin itong integral of dx over e to the x plus 1 dahil alam naman natin itong first term natin, nasagutan na. Ito lang ang wala, no? So, we're going to separate that. We will have the integral of dx over e to the x plus 1. Okay, so medyo mahaba siya, sabi ko kanina, kaya natin sineparate, okay? Alright, so substitute natin yung ating dx. Our dx is du over e to dx, okay? So we have the integral of our dx in here, which is du over e to dx. And then we have e to the x plus 1 in our denominator. So that means we have here 1 over e to the x plus 1. Okay? But we have this value right here, no? Kasi meron tayong du. So, express din natin itong mga x natin as u, no? So, we're going to use this. Substitute natin yung u minus 1 sa lahat ng e to the x natin, ano? So, that means in this case, we have the integral of, okay? So, du over e to the x. Ang ating e to the x is equal to u minus 1. Okay? And then we have 1 over e to the x is u minus 1. U minus 1. And then we have plus 1 pa dito. So, we have plus 1. Okay? So, that means this will be equal to 0. Okay? So, negative 1 and positive 1. So, this will be 0. Okay? So, that means we will have here the integral of du over u times u minus 1. So, u times u minus 1. Okay? So, this is equal to this. Now, how are we going to solve this? No? Mahirap din sagutan itong du over u times u minus 1. Well, actually, we will be able to solve this by partial fraction. Okay? By partial fraction. Okay? So, let us do partial fraction of that. Hiwalay uli natin to, no? Let us name this as equation 2 para hindi tayo malito, no? We're going to use this later on. So, gamitin natin itong du over u times u minus 1. So, we'll be solving that. We have 1 over u times u minus 1, no? Dahil hahanapin natin yung partial fraction niya. So, we're going to assign some coefficients. We have a over our denominator u, and then plus we have b our denominator u minus 1. Alright, so we're going to solve our fraction in here. We have 1 over u times u minus 1 is equal to a times u minus 1, a plus b times u, and then our denominator will be u times u minus 1, and that can be cancelled out, ba? Okay, so ano yung may iwan sa atin? We will have 1 is equal to a times u minus 1 plus b times u, okay? So, distribute natin itong ating a, so we will have 1 is equal to au minus a plus b u. Okay? Now, as you can see dito sa ating left side, meron lang tayong constant, no? Which is 1. Okay? So, that means we cannot have that ditong merong variable na u. Okay? So, if we're going to equate the coefficients with our constant, we will have 1 is equal to negative a, which means our a is equal to negative 1. Okay, so alam na natin yung value ng ating a. Okay, so next is we're going to solve for the coefficients of our variable u. So as you can see dito sa left side ng ating equation, we have 0. Okay, and dito naman sa right side, we have a plus b, di ba? So we have a plus b. Mga coefficients lang pinag-uusapan natin, ano? Coefficient ng ating variable u. So we have 0 is equal to a plus b, and we know that a is equal to negative 1, so 0 is equal to negative 1 plus b, so therefore our b is equal to positive 1. Okay, so we can substitute now that value dito, okay, sa ating naunang equation dito, which is 1 over, okay, we have 1 over u times u minus 1 is equal to a over u plus b over u. But we already know the value of a and the value of b. Oh, sorry, our denominator here will be u minus 1. Okay? So, alam na natin yung value ng a at yung value ng b. So, we're going to substitute that. So, we know that 1 over u times u minus 1 will be a, which is negative 1. So, negative 1 over u plus b, which is 1 over u minus 1. Okay, so gamitin natin yung equation number 2 natin. So, from equation number 2, so alam natin yung equation number 2 natin, yung integral nito, di ba? Ito yun. Equation number 2, the integral of du over u times u minus 1. So, we have the integral of du over u times u minus 1, which will be equal to, dahil yung 1 over u times u minus 1 is equal to this, so that means we have the integral, okay, of negative 1 over u plus 1 over u minus 1, then we have du. Okay, so let us split this. Okay, we have the integral of negative du over u plus the integral of du over u minus 1. Okay, so we can find this because we can already solve this. The derivative of our denominator is always, okay, equal to du, which is already our numerator here. Okay, so therefore, the integral of du over u times u minus 1 is equal to negative ln of u. Okay, then plus ln of u minus 1. Alright? And then, palitan natin yung mga value ng u natin. Alam natin that our u, according to this equation here, we have u is equal to e to the x plus 1. Okay, so our u is equal to e to the x plus 1. Okay, so substitute natin yan dito. So we have negative ln of u, which is e to the x plus 1. Okay, then plus ln of, we have e to the x plus 1 minus 1. Okay, so simplify lang natin yan. We have negative ln of e to the x plus 1, then plus ln of e to the x, because plus 1 minus 1 will be equal to 0. Okay, so we will have here ln e to the x. Alright, so meron na tayong value ng integral of du over u times u minus 1. But we have to take note that our integral of du over u times u minus 1 is equal to this one, yung hinahanap natin. Ano? This one, the integral of dx over e to the x plus 1. Okay? As you can see dito, no, nag-substitute na tayo. Ito yung meron tayo, no? Nakuha na natin yung value nito. And that is equal to this. The integral of dx over e to the x plus 1. Okay? So, this will be integral of dx over e to the x plus 1. So, now we can go back from equation 1. Okay, so balik tayo sa equation number 1 natin, in which we have this one, equation number 1. So, integral of e to the x minus 1 over integral e to the x plus 1 dx is equal to ln e to the x plus 1 minus the integral of dx over e to the x plus 1. Okay, so let us write that dito sa baba. Okay, so ito na yung pinaka-given naman natin dito. Ano? So we have the integral of e to the x minus 1. Sorry. This will be minus 1 over e to the x plus 1 dx is equal to, okay? So sabi natin kanina, this is equal to yung ln e to the x plus 1. So this is our equation number 1, okay? So minus the integral of dx over e to the x plus 1. Okay? But, as we said earlier, this is equal to this. Okay? So, nasagutan na natin yan. So, that means, this one is equal to negative ln e to the x plus 1 plus ln e to the x. Okay? So, I'll just remove this. Alright, so we have is equal to ln e to the x plus 1 minus, okay, the value of this, which is negative ln e to the x plus 1 plus ln e to the x. Okay, so simplifying that, we have ln e to the x plus 1, then negative times negative will be positive, ln e to the x plus 1, then negative times positive will be negative, so we have negative ln e to the x. And then, of course, solve na natin siya. Hindi natin pwedeng kalimutan yung plus c, no? So, meron tayong plus c dito sa dulo. So, this one is the same as this, so we can add them, no? So, that means we have 2 ln e to the x plus 1 minus ln e to the x plus c. Okay, so this is our final answer for this problem, which is letter, check natin sa ating mga choices. Okay, letter D, ano? We have ln e to the x plus 1 square minus x plus c. Okay, bakit siya naging square dito? So, we did not finish our simplification, ano? Pakita lang din natin ba't siya naging squared. So, we have 2 in here, no? So, that means we can put that as an exponent of our e to the x plus 1. So, this will be equal to ln e to the x plus 1 squared minus ln e to the x plus c, no? Kaya naka-squared yon. So, this is our final answer, no? Kaya naka-squared yung ating choices here. Okay? So, let's go now to problem number 22. Okay? Nakuha na natin yung problem number 21 natin. So, this is differential equation na lumabas noong April 1997 sa EE board exam. Okay, so radium decomposes at a rate proportional to the amount at any instant. In 100 years, 100 milligram of radium decomposes to 96 milligram. How many milligram will be left after 200 years? Okay, so we already studied this application of differential equations, ano? So, let us solve this now. Let Q to be the amount of the substance present. Okay? Alright, so our amount of the substance present changes with time. So we have dq over dt. Okay, so its value is changing. So we have here a constant k times our amount present. Okay, so we're going to take the integral of this. So first we need to put our same variables together, no, sa isang side ng ating equation. So we have the equation of dq over q. So nilipat natin itong q sa left side. And we have the integral of k dt. Okay? So we're going to take the integral of this. We have ln q is equal to kt plus c. Okay? So this is our general solution, no? Now, according sa given natin, the radium decomposes at a rate proportional to the amount at any instant. In 100 years, 100 milligram of radium decomposes to 96 milligram. How many milligram will be left after 200 years? So, at time 0, we have 100 milligram, diba? So, let us have that here. At time is equal to 0, we have Q is equal to 100 milligram. Okay? Okay, so let us substitute that. We have ln Q. Our Q is 100. And this is equal to K times T. Our time is equal to 0 plus C. Alright, so in here we can solve for the value of C, no? C is equal to ln of 100. So, let us solve for that. Ln, okay, ln of 100, okay, is equal to 4.0 4.60517. Okay, so our C is equal to 4.60517. Alright, so meron pa tayong isang given, ano? Sabi, dito sa ating problem, in 100 years, so our time is equal to 100 milligram of radium decomposes to 96. So, 96 na lang yung ating radium after 100 years. So, let us have that. So, at time is equal to 100, okay? Our Q is equal to 96 milligram. Okay, so again, substitute natin siya dito sa ating equation here. So we have ln. Our Q is equal to 96. And this is equal to K times time. Our time is 100 plus C. Okay, but we already know the value of C. So we have plus 4.60517. Okay, so in here we can solve for the value of K. Our K is equal to ln 96 minus 4.60517 divided by 100. So our K is equal to, let us use our calculator again. Okay, dito natin siya. So we have ln of 96 minus 4.60517 then divided by 100. Okay, so we have negative 4.08218 times 10 to the negative 4. So we can just write this as negative 0.000408.2, no? We can just write it that way para wala na tayong times 10 to the negative 4. Okay? Now, ang pinapahanap sa atin dito is how many milligram will be left after time is equal to 200 years. So, ang kailangan nating malaman, so at time is equal to 200, what will be our Q? Okay, so gamitin lang uli natin itong equation natin. ln Q is equal to KT plus C. So, ln Q is equal to KT plus C. So, hindi natin alam yung Q, pero alam natin yung K and C. Alright? So, we have ln Q is equal to our K, which is negative 0.0004082 times time, which is 200. Then, plus our C. Our C is 4.60517. Alright. So, as you can see, we can solve for the value of Q here. So, ln Q is equal to, let us use our calculator again. Negative 4.082 times 10 to the negative 4 times 200. Then, plus 4.60517. So, we have 4.5235. Right? So, we're going to solve for Q. So, we're going to have E on both sides of our equation. So, our Q is equal to E to the 4.5235. So, our Q is equal to, okay, once again, let's use our calculator. We have, where's our E? This one, our previous answer. So, we have 92.16. So, we have 92.16 milligrams. So, this is our final answer for this problem. 92.16. So, alin siya dito sa ating choices? 92.16 is letter C sa ating mga choices. Okay, so let's go to problem number 23. Alright, so this time we have physics problem na lumabas sa ECE board exam noong November 1998. So, a 16-gram mass is moving at 30 cm per second, while a 4-gram mass is moving in an opposite direction at 50 cm per second. They collide head-on and stick together. Their velocity after collision is, Okay, so we have to visualize kung ano yung nangyari dito, no? So we have two masses available here sa ating given, no? So we have our first mass moving, okay, and he has a speed of, okay, 30 centimeter per second. Okay, and this is a 16 gram, no? 16 gram. And then we also have another mass. And this time, yung mass natin dito is 4 gram. And it is moving at 50 centimeter per second. Okay, so ang kailangan nating makuha, after they collide, they stick together, and their velocity after collision is, so, maliwanag dito, no? Nung nagkabanggaan sila, nagdikit na sila. So, kung umaandar man sila sa isang direksyon, magkasama na sila, no? Ang tinatanong sa atin is, ano yung velocity nila after they stick together, no? Matapos yung collision. Okay, so, ang gagamitin natin dito is yung natutunan natin sa physics. We already have an equation for this, no? Kaya hindi na natin masyadong i-explain. We have the initial momentum. Okay? Initial momentum will be equal to the final momentum. Okay, so that means we have m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Okay, this is our initial momentum. And since they stick together, no, yung final momentum natin will be the combination of mass 1 and mass 2. So we have mass 1 plus mass 2 times the velocity, yung bagong velocity natin, no, yung hinahanap natin. Alright, so we're going to substitute that dito sa ating equation. So our mass 1 is 16. Then our velocity 1 is 30 cm per seconds. But kaya lang, kung titignan natin itong ating mga choices, naka meter per second na siya. So, it's better na i-convert na natin yung centimeter natin into meter. Okay, so we have 0.3 meter per second. Then, plus our mass 2, which is 4, times our velocity 2, which is 50 centimeter per second. But we know that velocity is a vector quantity, no? So, that means since the direction is opposite than our first mass here, so this will be negative, no? Our direction is negative. So our velocity 2 is equal to 0.5 because this is 50 centimeter per second. Then this will be equal to our final momentum, which is m1 plus m2, 16 and 4. So 16 plus 4 times our final velocity. So as you can see, we can solve for our velocity, okay, on this equation. So we have velocity is equal to 16 times 0.3 minus, because we have negative here, 4 times 0.5, then divided by 16 plus 4, which is 20. Okay, so now we can solve for the value of B. Let us have our calculator. We have 16 times 0.3, then minus 4 times 0.5, and divided by 20. Okay, so we have 0.14 meters per second. Naka-meter per second na tayo dahil na-convert na tayo, no, during our computation. So we have 0.14, which is letter A. Alright, so let's go to problem number 24, which is Engineering Mechanics na lumabas sa EE board noong April 1997. So, a man keeps a 1 kilogram toy airplane flying horizontally in a circle by holding on to a 1.5 meter long string attached to its wingtip. The string is always in the plane of the circular flight path. If the plane flies 10 meter per second, find the tension in the string, no? So, illustrate ko lang siya para ma-visualize natin, no? So, let's say this is the man. Okay? Na, I don't know, naglalaro ng airplane. Okay? So, meron tayong string, dito nakakabit yung ating toy airplane. And then, it is moving in a circular direction. Okay? So, of course, based from this, yung length ng ating string, okay? As you can see from the given, we have 1.5 meter long string. So, that will be the radius of our circle here. So, the radius is equal to 1.5 meters. Okay? Then, we have our velocity, which is 10 meters per second. And then, given din yung mass ng ating airplane toy, no? So, we have mass is equal to 1 kilogram. Alright, so, meron na tayong equation or formula para dito, no? Na napag-aralan natin sa engineering mechanics and also in physics. So, we just have to take note that our FC, which is the centrifugal force, and then we have T as the tension. Okay, in this case, the tension on the string. Okay, so, natutunan natin to in our physics class that tension is equal to the centrifugal force. Okay, so our tension is equal to our centrifugal force, which is mass, times velocity squared over our radius. Okay, so substitute lang natin yung mga values natin. T is equal to mass, which is 1 kilogram, times our velocity, which is 10 meters per second, and this will be squared, over our radius, which is 1.5 meters. Okay? So, ito yung mga given natin na values. Right. So, what will be our answer in here? Let us use our calculator. We have 10 squared divided by 1.5. So, we have 66.67. So, 66.67. Our meter here will be squared, but it will be divided to another meter now. So, we will have only 1 meter. So, we have kilogram meter per second squared, which is also unit for Newton. So, tension is equal to 66.67 Newton. So, this will be our final answer here, which is letter B sa ating mga choices. Ano? Alright, so let's go to problem number 25. Okay. Right, so problem number 25, we have college physics again. The wavelength of a sound wave in a certain material as measured is 18 centimeter. The frequency F, the wave is 1900 hertz. Compute the speed of sound wave. Alright, so we also have an equation for this already now. We have the speed of the wave is equal to, okay, our wavelength times the frequency. Okay, so again, this is the speed, this is the wavelength, and this is the frequency. So we just need to substitute these values, no? Hindi naman mahirap tong problem na to. So our wavelength is given, which is 18 centimeter, no? So let's convert that to meter. So we have 0.18. And the frequency, which is 1900. So this will be per second. Right? So our velocity will be equal to, let us solve for that. Takpan natin. So lipat natin dito. So we have 0.18 times 1900. So we have 342 meters per second. Okay, so this will be our final answer in here, which is letter A sa ating mga choices, no? Alright, so let's go to problem number 26. We need to evaluate this double integral. Okay? So, solve natin siya. Sulat ko muna yung problem natin. We have the integral from 0 to 4. Then the integral from 0 to y times x squared plus y squared dx dy. Okay? Yan yung ating given. Okay? So solvein muna natin yung ating first integral, no? Which will be this one. Okay? So solvein muna natin yan. So we will have the integral from 0 to 4. Okay? The integral of x squared plus y squared with respect to dx. So we have the integral of x squared will be x cubed over 3. Okay? And then from here, we are integrating as per dx. So that means it will just be y squared x. Okay? So this will be from 0 to y. And then we still have our dy in here. Okay? So substitute na natin yan. So this will be equal to the integral from 0 to 4. Then x cubed, substitute natin yung y. We will have y cubed. So y cubed over 3 plus, substitute natin yung x natin to y. So we have y cubed na rin dito. So we have y cubed. Okay? And then, meron pa tayong 0 rito. But if we substitute 0 sa lahat ng x natin, it will be 0 also. No? So hindi na natin yan ilalagay. So we have dy here. Right? So now we can solve again this integral. But before that, it's better na i-simplify na natin ito, no? So let's say from 0 to 4, we'll have here y cubed plus 3y cubed. Kasi pareho namang y cubed yung ating variable, no? So we have 3 dy. Okay? So we can take out itong ating 1/3. So we have 1/3. Integral from 0 to 4. Then y cubed plus 3y cubed will be 4y cubed dy. Okay? So, mas madali na siyang isolve. So, now we have 1/3. The integral of 4y cubed dy. So, we have 4y to the 4th over 4 from 0 to 4. Right? So, as you can see, makaka-cancel lang itong ating 4 dito, no? Alright? So, now, we can substitute itong 4 sa ating mga y. So, we have 1/3 times 4 to the 4th. Okay? Because wala na tayong 0 dahil bali wala rin naman siya, no? It will be also equal to 0. Okay? So, we have 4 to the 4th. Ano ba yung 4 to the 4th? Let us use our calculator. 4 to the 4th. Okay? Which is 256, no? So we have 256 over 3. Right? So, makikita natin, nandito na siya sa choice, no? Kaya hindi na natin si-simplify pa. It's already present sa choices natin. So, 256 over 3, which is letter A, sa ating problem number 26. Alright, so now let's go to problem number 27. Which is differential equations na lumabas sa CE board noong May 1997. Find the differential equations of the family of lines passing through the origin. Okay, so we have a line in here. Okay, so let's remember that our equation of the line is y is equal to mx plus b. And it passes through the origin. Okay, so that means our b is equal to 0. Okay, yan yung ating y-intercept. Okay, so if our b is equal to 0, that means we have y is equal to mx. Right? So, our m is equal to y over x. Right, so our m is a constant, no? This is a slope of the line. So, if you're going to take the derivative of this, the derivative of a constant will be 0. Okay, so now let's get the derivative of y over x. So we have derivative of a quotient here, no? So we have x dy minus y dx over x squared. Right? So transposing x squared sa left side, so that will be 0 times x squared, so that will be 0. So what we'll have here is x dy minus y dx is equal to 0. So this is our final answer here. The equation of our line, okay, that is passing through the origin. So alin siya dito sa ating mga choices? That will be letter B. X dy minus y dx is equal to 0. Okay? Now let's go to problem number 28. Okay? So in problem number 28, this is engineering economy na lumabas sa ECE board noong March 1982. Okay, for instance, you have 10,000 pesos invested in your savings bank account. It is earning 12% interest compounded annually. Determine how many years your money will be doubled. Okay? So hanapin natin dito kung kailan madodoble yung ating pera na ininvest natin. No? So our equation here will be F is equal to P times 1 plus I times N. No? Ginamit na rin natin to sa earlier parts ng ating set A problem. Ano? So we have to take note, nagdoble yung ating ininvest dito. No? So that means our F will be equal to 2P. Okay? Which is our principal. Alright? So substitute natin yan dito sa ating equation dito. So we have 2P is equal to P times 1 plus our I, which is 12%. So we have 0.12. And our term, which is N, will be our required. Kasi gusto natin malaman kailan daw siya madodoble. No? And based from here, our P will be cancelled out. Okay? So, ang may iwan sa atin dito is 2 is equal to 1.12 to the N. So we can take the logarithm of this. So we have logarithm of 2 is equal to N, the logarithm of 1.12. Okay, so our N is equal to log 2 over log of 1.12. So our N, therefore, is equal to, let's have our calculator. Okay, we have logarithm of 2 divided by the logarithm of 1.12. So our N is equal to 6.116. So this, let's say 6.12. So 6.12 years. Okay? So this is our final answer here, which is 6.12 years, letter A sa ating mga choices. Ano? Alright, so let's go to problem number 29. Again, this is an engineering economy problem na lumabas sa ME board noong October 1990. A couple decided that for every child that will be born to them, they will place a deposit in the bank so that on the child's 18th birthday, the child will receive the amount of 300,000 pesos. If the bank will pay an interest of 18% compounded yearly, how much deposit will the couple have to make on the birth of the child to them? Okay? So, same lang nung ginamit nating equation kanina. No? So, we have F is equal to P times 1 plus I to the N. Okay, so in this case, our N is equal to 18. Okay, because we want to find out how much it will be, after 18 years, no? Kapag nag-reach na ng 18 years old yung kanilang anak. Okay? So, we want the amount 300,000 when it reach 18 years, no? So, that means our F is equal to 300,000. And then, we have an interest of 18%. So, our I is equal to 0.18. So, from here, makukuha natin how much principal is needed, no? So, our F, which is 300,000, is equal to P times 1 plus I, which is 0.18. So we have 1.18 times N, which is 18. Right? So we can solve for our P. Our P is equal to 300,000 divided by 1.18 times 18. No? So we can solve for the value of P. So let's have again our calculator. Okay, so we have 300,000 divided by 1.18 18. So we have 15,249.13. So we have 15,249.13. And this is our final answer here. 15,249.13, which is letter A. Okay? Okay, 15,249. Kapareho ng sagot natin dito. Now, let's go to problem number 30, our last problem. System of numbers and conversion. Lumabas noong ME board noong April 1997. What is the value in degrees of 1 radian? Okay, so we know that 360 degree is equal to 2 pi radians, diba? So, all we have to do here is to use ratio and proportion. No? So, for every x over 360 degree will be equal to 1 radian for every 2 pi radians. Okay, so this is just ratio and proportion. Now, makikita natin dito yan. X is equal to 1 radian times 360 degree over 2 pi radians. Okay? So, we can solve for our x in here. Let's use our calculator again. Okay, so we have our radian will be cancelled out. So, we have 360 on our numerator divided by 2 and divided by pi. So, we have 57.295. So, let's say 57.3 degree. Okay, so this is our final answer in here. Okay, which is letter B sa ating mga choices. Right guys, so we finished solving lahat ng problems natin sa set A ng ating board exam refresher workbook for general engineering. So, watch out for set B ng ating refresher for general engineering sa ating YouTube channel. So that's all for now. Thank you very much and have a nice day.